for starters, number one. Where the heck is this freaking latch at? So, what made the ride a bit shaky, you'll see it right over there, probably clear, well, I hope it's clear as day, right down there. That is one cylinder, not connected whatsoever. But we're gonna fix that. And also, of course, gotta change this oil because this oil has actually been in here, best case scenario, since 2020. So definitely not trying to keep riding on that. So first things first, just gonna attack this oil, get that done and out the way, and then move on to the other stuff. All right, so got this thing up in the air. Gotta be quick with it because, of course, in this development, I will get harassed for working on my car. But I'm gonna try to do this quick, not a big job. Just a couple things that I wanna do before I let it sit and tend to try to drive this thing eventually on the road like I want to. But since it's in the air, got what I need to change the oil. I know I'm a Wix guy, but I got this Fram filter for now because I'm probably gonna be changing this oil out pretty soon just because I'm a worrywart and it's the first time I've had a motor like this with low mileage like this one is. I want to keep the bottom end strong because that gives me confidence when I do stuff to the top end that it's actually going to hold up. So some of these spark plugs is going to be difficult to get to, and I may even be better off going from the bottom. Maybe I know on that side I was better off going from the bottom for that back one because of these ham hock hamburger helper hands. I can only get into so many areas, and over here it's pretty tight. It's definitely going to frustrate me. I can already see it. But also on top of that, the suspension on this thing was really soft, which this isn't really going to make it better, but it'll help it not break on me. I'm going to use the grease gun and get up under here and grease all these fittings, including the ball joints. All right, so looking up under here in the daylight with a lot of space for the first time, definitely going to need the good old Rob Cole treatment where I wire wheel the crap out of everything and start to use that rust encapsulator and get this thing protected so it can last for years. Good part is there is no actual frame rot. It's all surface so far from what I found. But what I mean by the linkages, for example, here on the backside, you can't see it, but there is a Zerk fitting. Of course, Zerk fittings on the ball joints to get some in there. And same thing even on these arms over here. I'm not sure, I think these are caps, which is wild because Zerk fitted caps on Zerk fittings is like super old school, or unless an aftermarket guy really cares, like me. So anyway, don't want to talk too much. Going to go loosen up that bolt back there, get that filter off, and start the process. I gotta get to this dang filter up here. Won't give me too much trouble. Wow, that's barely loose and it's already coming from the top. Or did I punch a hole in it? Wow, that's really soft and I just put a hole in it. So I gotta be careful that I don't make this job more than what it needs to be. All right, so new filter's on. I actually use a PH5, that's the extra guard, but if it was like a XG, it would still be a 5 because the 5 is actually the taller one that's like, for whatever reason, considered SUVs, but it makes it easier for me to reach it. Only time where it might be a little like iffy is if you got headers. It'll be really close, but that's what they make sleeves for, but that's not even all headers. But while that's draining, now I'm going to move on to these and start cleaning them off so that way I can start putting some grease in them. Oh, I got a little bit starting to come out. I'll stop it right there. So not too bad. Moving on. And the thing is, I would love to like clean this up and like power wash it, but not right now. The looks will come later. I'm just trying to start hitting the fundamentals now. All right, so under here, plugs back in, that's done draining out. All of the Zerk fittings for the steering linkages, ball joints, all that stuff has been hit. The only ones that I didn't hit yet are the ones at the top of the upper control arm. That's the one that I got to get last. But I'm going to pour the oil into it and figure out which plug wires I'm going to get from the bottom so I can get this thing back on the ground so that I'm not harassed by my community anymore. So another thing worrying me a bit is right here where you see that loom. I guess right there was enough for water to kind of stay still against the oil pan in between the loom. It's kind of rusted at the pan and I don't want it to rust through, so I'm going to have to figure something out with that. Probably right now give it a slight scratch like a sand. Don't want to go too hard because I don't want to go through the pan and I'm screwed. I just want to get a little layer of paint on it to stop it from eroding as much as it is, because that would suck to get a hole in the oil pan. All right, so back up top, about to top this thing off, get all of this oil in here. It'll be that much closer to not causing any harm with this thing. Let's see how good my pour is with the left hand. Oh no! All right, see, I just dropped all of that. Dang it. All right, boom, 5 quarts, done. Man, I am fighting so hard to resist the urge to just put this one plug wire on because it's messed up, just so it'll run with all 8 cylinders and not do the rest of these. The amount of fight that I just had to put up with to reach my hand through the rubber freaking weather protector, insane. And this is what it looks like. Dude, I don't know if that's just burnt or just crusted away because it's old. I have no clue, but I'll let you know what I decide to do. All right, so swapped out all 4 on that side. That faulted me ridiculously, but all 4 of those are done, and there were multiple that were crunchy, cracked with poor connection. Over here, I only did the back one because that one was one I had to do from the underside with my big hands. And the ones, I want to say the 3 on the front over here, I got out without too much problem when we were trying to figure out which cylinder was hydro-locked. So I'll get to that later. Problem I'm coming into now is it still has a bit of a shake to it. It's not running as smooth as it can, and it does feel like it's a little bit down on power. So I am going to change the fuel filter to see if that helps. That'll be a quick swap, or should be. I probably just jinxed myself, but swap that out, and then hopefully that'll fix the issue. Only other things I can think of is, I mean, I still do need to change the cap, the rotor up under there. I'll even change the ignition coil out and the ignition module attached to the distributor. So all of those things should like get it to run smooth. If it doesn't, I am at a complete loss, but that's something for a future date. Going to move on. All right, so I'll just start it up real quick so that way you guys can see what I mean. Yeah, so still has that shake to it, but we'll figure it out. All right, so back outside, going to get started on this, changing all of these ignition parts, hoping that I can get this thing to actually run and idle smooth and drive normal, at least engine-wise. The other stuff I can deal with later. But that's the goal right now, and that's the only thing that's kind of really making me nervous at the moment, is the fact that I know that the motor is like in great condition, obviously, but the fact that it's not running smooth, I gotta iron out those little things. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do, is start replacing all the ignition parts, also the belt, get that out of the way, and hopefully it is running smooth after all of that's done, because that's gonna really just up kind of like the progress, or at least in my head, of me starting to actually daily drive this thing. So I gotta get the ratchet out, a couple sockets, and start taking this thing apart. All right, so since the thing still wants to run kind of rough, I got all the ignition pieces. I got, what is this? Oh, well, no, this is actually lug nuts. No, this is spark plugs. Got these spark plugs, all 8, brand new. Got a belt because the belt that is on there is super crunchy. Got that out of the way. Cap and rotor, don't chew me up because it's red. This is a company off Amazon I used even for the Kodiak, and it worked perfectly fine. So I got another one from the same brand. Got the ignition coil, and one of the trickiest things that TBI motors, or at least in my experience, eat is Thank you. Ignition modules. So this one too, just in case the other one's a little shoddy, I'm gonna try it out. What happened?
Are you telling him where to put them?
No. Put what?
Anything that you're sending him in with.
No, what is he coming in with?
I don't know, there was just a battery next to the pot that you were just at. Did you just bring a battery in?
Yeah.
Why the
Ignition modules have given me trouble over the years, so just in case, I got one, and hopefully after changing all of these parts out, this thing decides to idle smooth, stop shaking, and acting like it has a miss. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do, since I got that cleaner off, of course I gotta change the distributor, ignition coil, and the, what's that thing called? Ignition control module. Gotta change those three. But before I do that, I think what I wanna do is knock out these other 3 spark plugs I had on this side, well, spark plug wires, and probably just the spark plugs too while I'm over here. Get those knocked out, get the wires ran up to that cap so that I can just take that cap over there and I'll be able to pull it off. And when I do, I can just swap the wires from one cap over to the other while it's not on the distributor, so I don't mess up the firing order. Even though, I mean, I could easily just Google it. But yeah, that's how I'm gonna swap the cap. And then, of course, while the cap's off, that's when I can change the ignition control module and then just swap out that ignition coil. All right, so a couple spark plugs is out. New ones, old ones. AC Delcos on the left that came out, and the NGKs on the right. Now these are the ones that come up for the car. Thread pitch is the same. Gap is actually slightly different, but to the point where I think it might be a manufacturing thing and not an actual like on purpose thing. But one thing I can say is that they're slightly, try to show you guys, it's slightly taller. Not a huge deal, but that kind of helps me out because for whatever reason, these AC Delcos here did not do too well with an actual socket for spark plugs. So I don't know, but either way, gonna put the new ones in, keep it pushing. Got the new belt on, the old crusty belt is off, and gonna keep going. All right, progress under the hood. So got the ignition coil out. This is the old one, original GM. A little rough, I mean, obviously, because it's been sitting for years, but who knows, this thing could work perfectly. I'm not sure what is the problem, and I kind of don't have the time to do a one-by-one, I guess, like diagnosis, so that's why I'm changing all of this stuff. And hopefully it works out. If not, then I have no choice but to do a step-by-step. But here's the new one. This one is not a AC Delco or anything like that. It's a brand off Amazon. I read reviews. The reviews seem good. For all of those people that are like, oh, it's gotta be AC Delco, original dealer, blah, blah. Okay, I get it. Yes, that is true with some things, but I am also the guy who has bought the AC Delco, the original GM, and had it fail prematurely. So it depends. Sometimes stuff works out, sometimes it doesn't. Moving on. Ignition coil itself, this is another thing that's going to be a job in itself, is these things, when you have the original one, they don't have nuts and bolts, there's rivets. So I have to grind these rivets off, 1 and 2, and then that should take the 2 pins out. These brackets will come off, and then I can put it on the new one. But that's the problem. This new one does not come with bolts, like a nut and a threaded rod. The MSD one I bought a while ago for a different car, that did come with bolts. This one did not, so that's a bit of a bummer. Then of course, old plugs, same thing. These things are out of there. Not all of them, not done all of them yet. Trying to move on to the other stuff because I'm running out of time. And there it is, everything's apart and out. I'm going to change the cap in a bit, but first going to start replacing this other stuff before I get to the cap. All right, people, back in action. Went to the store, of course, because like I said, there were no bolts, and grinded off those rivets, got the brackets off. Did wire weld them a bit toward the contact points, I guess for good ground, if that's even what it's for. But yeah, did that, got it out of the way, and had to go to the hardware store. Got some stainless steel Allen bolts that were just the right length to go through with some washers and lock nuts. So I'm gonna put this on, get it in, start reassembly, and start praying. All right, it's all installed. Just double checking everything, touching all the spark plug wires, making sure that they are engaged with the plugs, and putting on the air cleaner and starting it up and hoping for a smooth idle. And plus, like I said, change the belt, just got to put that fan shroud back on, and then we'll start it up. Ooh. It's still really shaky after all of that. It's probably something stupid, but I'm done for the day, calling it quits. I'm gonna look over it a little bit and then park it back where it was, but that's gonna be it.